Hey everyone, and welcome to the next video game review here on Pokemon Productions. And this time, we're going to be taking a look at a game released in 2020, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. In case anybody doesn't remember, for my 300 subscriber special / 3-year anniversary on YouTube, I reviewed 2018's Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4. And this game is essentially a direct follow-up. It's set a few years after the events of the first game, like the Devil's Breath Crisis and all that. Peter Parker has been training Miles Morales to be Spider-Man, and it's basically centers all around him, and then Peter goes away for a while, meaning New York is in Miles' hands, and Miles is basically trying to be a solo Spider-Man. Let's have a look at the back of the box. Be greater. Be yourself. Experience the rise of Miles Morales as the new hero masters incredible, explosive new powers to become his own Spider-Man. Now, because there's a lot more to say on the back of the box than it was on the original game, that scores points with me because it wasn't really that much with the first game, so that scores points with me. Yeah, so basically, Miles is trying to become his own Spider-Man, as the back of the box suggests. And everyone keeps saying that he's the other Spider-Man or the younger Spider-Man. But he just wants to be known as Spider-Man, not the other Spider-Man. And he's got his best friend, Ganke Lee, helping him, who is essentially his best friend and tech expert. Sort of like maybe Ned from the MCU movies, but it's quite an impressive story because we've got this corporation called Roxxon who are creating this new form thing, and there's also this group called the Underground who are trying to steal it, and they basically want to ruin Roxxon, and they have this villain called the Tinkerer leading them. And of course, we get to see more of Miles' home life. We get to see his mum. We get to see how life goes on after the events of the City Hall bombing. And, after his dad was killed by Martin Lee. And we also get to meet his old childhood friend, Finn Mason, who he actually knows from high school and middle school and all that sort of stuff. They've basically been best friends. And then during one stint, we eventually find out that Finn is the Tinkerer, who's trying to get revenge on the Roxxon CEO Simon Krieger because she and her brother Rick were trying to overload a Roxxon reactor, but it went awry and Rick died in the process. So basically, Finn is out for revenge. And it's basically a massive adventure for Miles and his becoming of Spider-Man. Now, looking at the front of the cover, I'm sure you guys, anybody who's seen like the Spider-Verse movies or read the Ultimate Spider-Man comics from the 2000s, will recognize this look. It's pretty much become an iconic look for Spider-Man. I mean, Miles Morales has become possibly the second most known Spider-Man next to Peter Parker. And you see that little electricity building up. That's one of the main mechanics of the game called Venom Power, where once Miles builds up enough Venom power, he can use it for different attacks, like Venom punches, Venom dashes, Venom smashes, and Venom jumps. And you can also use it for traversal. It's pretty much this is pretty much the same gameplay as the first game, like swinging around and stuff. But it's actually a lot quicker as well, pretty much the same speed, but you know what I mean? And the combat is pretty much the same as well, with the addition of the new Venom power. And the characters and the voice acting is incredible. The voice acting is pretty good. I will say the story of the game, it isn't really that big. I mean, it is a bit short. Like, it's a lot shorter than the first game, but even though it was a bit short, I do enjoy it. It was a good game. I absolutely love it. And as you can see, I have the PS5 version. But this isn't actually the first copy of the game I got. I originally got the game when it came out in 2020, and I actually got the PS4 version, mainly because at the time I did not have a PS5. I mean, back then PS5s were selling out like crazy. You all know what I'm talking about. But for all intents and purposes, Spider-Man Miles Morales is essentially an in-between sequel to Marvel Spider-Man. It's not a full-on sequel, but it's basically a follow-up. I think Cat Icarus, one of my favourite YouTubers, called it in his PS5 video a pseudo-sequel to the original game. And that's not a too far-fetched comment. I mean, it isn't like that big to be warranted as a sequel. I mean, it is a sequel, but it's more like a follow-up. It isn't the biggest sequel out there, but it's more like a side story. But again, it's a great game. And if you guys want a fully fledged story about Miles Morales, just Miles Morales, if you want that, then I highly recommend playing this game. I mean, if you guys are fans of the Spider-Verse movies, which focus on Miles, then this is the game for you. So I hope you guys enjoy watching this video, and I hope you'll join me when I eventually get to reviewing Marvel Spider-Man 2, because that game's pretty good, and I can't wait to share my thoughts about it with you. So hopefully that'll be in a few videos' time, or maybe it's the next video. I don't know, but I hope you guys will join me for when that happens. Take care, guys. See you later.